So New York City is under fire to remove gang members from New York City shelters. Matter of urgent public safety. Well, here's how urgent that is. Let me give you a little example. Tren de Aragua's little migrant teen terror, Little Devil migrant teen terror busted again for New York City knife point robbery, sources say. 15-year-old Venezuelan migrant busted at least 10 times. Yes. In the last few months, believed to be part of a violent crew of young gang members, was arrested again this week for a knife point robbery, sources said Wednesday, and then he's finally getting locked up. What? No way. Teen terror, who'd been sprung without bail after each of his previous arrests, sobbed as the judge remanded him during his arraignment in Manhattan Family Court Wednesday on yet another first-degree robbery charge. This kid should be on a one-way ticket back to Venezuela. But we're not doing that because we're just not sending anybody back to Venezuela. Court finds that remand is appropriate, and this time there are no alternatives, and that a return to home at this time would be inappropriate. Yeah, those other 9 felony charges you have, yeah, those didn't really count. But number 10, here's where we're at. Troublesome teen, identified by sources as a matter of Los Diablos de la 42. Those are the Little Devils of 42nd Street. Pint-sized offshoot of the vicious Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua been cuffed in the latest bust on Tuesday, just as the Post was revealing the baby-faced bandit's shocking exploits. He's accused of pulling a knife on a 34-year-old man at 9th Avenue and West 35th Street around 7 p.m. Along with the pal, a teen and his buddy allegedly body-slammed the victim into a pole, flashed a kitchen knife, and demanded that he turn over the phone, the sources said. The man was able to get away unscathed because this kid is 5'2" and weighs a buck nothing, right? Video from the scene helped cops identify the alleged mugger, and they busted him at 59th Street in Columbia. Let's go down to here. This kid's going to go home today and probably rob somebody else. That's comforting. Yeah, he's 5'2", didn't speak during his arraignment, standing before the judge in white Nike Air Force Narrow One sneakers, ripped white jeans, and a beige Rolling Stones with tongue sweater. That's because he ripped it off. He ripped off all that stuff, right? The teen, who has his nose pierced and several tattoos on his hands, including a small heart, began crying when his defense attorney said his mother couldn't make it to court, and then continued to sob during the hearing. 10 times is the charm. So 10 is the number. 10 arrests for the government to finally give in and said maybe there's a problem here, one cop griped. Or are they doing it because public opinion is forcing them? Yeah, either way, the damage is done. People have been victimized and the child slipped further and further into a criminal enterprise. This is not criminal justice reform. This is perverse. So that is ongoing. That is just one tiny little example of what is going on in mass scale, in large scale across the United States. And Eric Adams under fire to remove gang members from the shelters? Ooh, do you think it is a matter of public safety? Mm-hmm. Because, those other 9 times, just let little Jimmy go. Let little Diablo go. With shelter arrests on pace to soar 64% this year, bipartisan group of polls is demanding Mayor Adams immediately boot migrant gang members as a matter of urgent public safety. You know what? I say, if you are here illegally and if you have a date in the future for a asylum hearing, and if you commit a crime in the United States, you just get tossed out immediately. Just boop, no, nothing. I mean, and if there's even a question, tossed. Because we've got millions and millions and millions in the country. We need to get rid of some of them. And some of them are bad apples, bad seeds. You got to start calling them out. And let's start calling with, hey, you got arrested. You're gone. No trial, no nothing. Just, yeah, gone. Push comes as the city grapples with a baby-faced pack of violent migrant gangbangers targeting locals and tourists in armed heists in Midtown. Come to New York City. Experience your very own mugging. What a more memorable... You could get like a t-shirt that said, I got mugged in New York City, thanks to the Biden administration's policy at the southern border. I got bugged I got mugged, not bugged. High-profile crimes allegedly committed by migrants include thugs who beat up New York Police Department officers in Times Square and the fatal stabbing of a 24-year-old migrant. Okay, that one resulted in this one. Check this out. Look at this, just absolute insanity, right? Did New York City disregard sanctuary policy by turning convicted migrant over to ICE? I mean, that's a real question. That's an honest question being asked because the policy is such in New York City that these kids and these adults know that they can get away with it forever. Yeah, maybe that forever is turning into, natives of New York City, they're getting a little bit upset. They're getting a little bit upset about having this kind of stuff happen to them, and we're doing jack nothing in response. Venezuelan migrant assaulted 2 New York Police Department officers during a brawl. He was previously released by local law enforcement for time served, but is now in ICE after a detainer was issued for his arrest. New York is a sanctuary city, and local law enforcement is generally prohibited from honoring ICE detainers. However, according to ICE, detainer was issued for this non-citizen and honored the request, raising questions about the city's sanctuary policy. You are harboring felons. You are harboring acted felons that are known to commit felonies on the daily. That's what they do for a living. They are here illegally. They are preying upon the residents of New York City. Residents of New York City, what I would say to you is if you voted in the folks that are all down with the sanctuary city policy, maybe you need to rethink that. Maybe you need to, I voted for a bunch of far left nut jobs. Progress wasn't obtained. So now what do we do? Well, you make your vote count, right? But that's not going to happen because New York City is a big blue city. It's a big blue city like Seattle. So I can say this stuff day in and day out, and it would be reasonable, but nobody's really going to think about it twice because, that's not going to happen to me. Big city crime. That kind of stuff happens all the time. Gomez Izquiel was incarcerated on February 15th and sentenced to 364 days in jail, 1 day short of a year, allowing him to qualify for early release, which he did after serving 3/4 of his sentence. In a press release announcing his capture, ICE explained that an immigration detainer is a request for local law enforcement to notify them before a movable non-citizen is released from custody. Detainers request local custody for up to 48 hours, got to hold them, but not in a sanctuary city. Long been debate over ICE's request because they're not working together. And that's the whole point of a sanctuary city policy like New York City has. They're urging citizens not to honor ICE detainers except in cases involving violent or serious felonies. And here's the real kicker. Here's where I start to lose my patience. Now, I lost my patience a long time ago. Claiming such practices erode trust in immigrant communities. So are we more concerned with gaining the trust of convicted felons coming into the country illegally, committing more crimes? Or what about the trust of the taxpayers paying all the bills of these illegal aliens coming in, committing felonies? Which one are we going with? Well, clearly we're not going with the taxpayers because this whole argument over the ICE and sanctuary city policy is such that, over the summer, New York City Mayor Eric Adams called for changes to the city's sanctuary laws in light of the ongoing migrant crisis. And you know what the city and everybody else said? You know what? Go fix it yourself. Biden, what did he say? You got to work on it. You got lots of resources there. You can figure it out. You're a smart guy. I mean, you used to be a cop. Figure it out there. Whatever. He advocated for collaboration between local and federal officials. By collaboration, he means money in deporting immigrants who commit crimes. Did a little bit of that too. And again, I say somebody gets arrested and they're, here on, whatever. You got him into the country. Boop, done. I don't know. Move them off to Mexico. Do whatever. There's got to be some pushback. But in these big sanctuary cities, It's all this virtue signaling. Bring them our way. We'll take care of them. And then they tally up the bill and they go, oh, good Lord, that's a lot of money. Man, look at all the babies they're having and we're having to pay for it. Oh, well, yeah, it's our compassion. So you want to say, hey, maybe you could make a change and change this up a little bit. But if the thousands and thousands and thousands of folks that have come to New York City, if those folks don't create a situation where you change some policy and it doesn't look like that's going to happen, then, hey, best of luck to you, right? Best of luck to you. So you've got this whole narrative of, oh, that's not very sanctuary city of them. They turned them over to ICE. The guy's on, arrest number whatever. It's wild, right? It's become evident that foreign-based criminal organizations like Tren de Aragua have been using taxpayer-funded shelters across the city as a base for their illicit activities, which include organized theft, robbery, assaults, sex trafficking, and in some cases, murder. That sounds like a P. Diddy white party, doesn't it? Ooh. Yeah, not good, not good. How many more lawsuits, speaking of New York City, how many more lawsuits P. Diddy going to rack up? Man, that guy, they are just sticking it to him. Like he stuck it to a lot of people. They didn't really want to have that done, right? So supported by numerous news reports. Yeah, we've heard it because we've read them. Unfortunately, due to the confluence of recent criminal justice reforms, there we go, justice reform. How is that working out for you? And the sanctuary city laws in this state and city, these foreign national criminals have been operating with impunity. Of course they have. Of course they have. And then we get into, there were 1,600 arrests at city shelters, up 53%. You know what? It's like the whole homeless industrial complex thing. If you build it, they will come. If you create a situation where folks are going to live in the Roosevelt Hotel for a while, get their $10,000 debit card, have all their food paid for, free clothes, you name it, partridge in a pear tree, if you build it, they will come. I just don't feel that bad. And now if you get mugged, it's like, okay, but did you not see this a-coming? Because these criminals are literally operating out of state-funded taxpayers' money. And so it's like, okay, which part of this equation do you want to change first? Look what's happening to Eric Adams, who said, hey, Eric Adams up here in New York City, we don't really want to do the illegal immigrant thing in our city anymore. And how'd that work out for him? How many indictments? For some kind of weak ass stuff. Hey, got some discounted plane airfare, got some discounted hotels. That's what you got? That's what you got on the guy? That whole thing doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't know. Call me just reasonable. I'm not really sure. But yeah. So all these storylines happening, and you're seeing all these folks in New York City up in arms about our city isn't safe anymore. Well, did you think it was going to be with, the prisons of Venezuela being dumped out and them just raging across the southern border? And then Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis spreading the love across the United States. And then all of a sudden you're getting all upset. You're getting all worked up. We've got criminals in the midst. Yeah, because that's who's being shipped up with a lot of families, with a lot of people with kids. But when you do it by the millions, there's going to be a small fraction of those millions that are bad hombres. We said that before. That's weird. But we wrote that off as racism. So here we are. Is this shocking? No, it's not. Is anything going to change? I don't think so. But you know what? The narrative's going to keep on going out there because it's ridiculous. It is not reasonable. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.